The streets of Copenhagen shimmered under the late afternoon sun. The city was calm, regal, seemingly unaware that history was about to be made in its quiet corners. Royal tradition suggested formality, predictability, and careful choreography. But what unfolded was neither predictable nor strictly ceremonial. It was intimate, charged, and deeply human. Princess Leonor of Spain stepped lightly across the palace grounds, poised, graceful, a figure the world had grown to admire. Observers anticipated a standard engagement event, but something felt different. Her eyes, calm yet gleaming with anticipation, told a story the public was not yet ready to understand. There was a tension in the air, subtle but electric, the kind that precedes a life-changing decision. Prince Christian of Denmark approached, his steps measured, his expression betraying the weight of centuries of expectation. Royals are trained to control emotion, yet in this moment, humanity shone through. A simple exchange, a glance, a smile, carried the weight of possibility, love, and history. The world watched, yet had no idea of the quiet drama unfolding behind polite smiles and camera shutters. Why did this moment feel different from every other royal announcement ever made? It was not just the proposal, it was the context. Two young heirs, each bearing centuries of tradition, were meeting at the intersection of personal desire and historical duty. Could a personal choice exist in the shadow of legacy? The answer would come in a simple, profound word. The story begins long before Copenhagen. Madrid had been a cradle of preparation, a stage where family, advisors, and protocol had shaped her every move. For Princess Leonor, life had been lived under the gaze of the world. Every gesture, every smile had been catalogued and judged. Yet for the first time, she entered a moment where her heart would decide, and history would bend slightly to accommodate that choice. Weeks prior, whispered conversations and private meetings had set the stage. Not all royal engagements follow the script, some are negotiated in quiet, unseen spaces. Rumors swirled among courtiers. Was the engagement expected? Was it strategic? Or was it a declaration of love, raw and unfiltered, defying expectation? The answer lay in the palace gardens, under the soft Danish light, in a space where formality gave way to intimacy. The gardens themselves seemed to hold their breath. Every leaf, every stone, every echo of history bore witness to the encounter. As Leonor and Christian approached each other, the world expected a ceremony, a display. Instead, they shared something fleeting yet monumental, a laugh, a hand lightly resting on another, eyes that communicated volumes without words. The photographers and dignitaries saw an image, but those present felt the story, hope, tension, and unspoken promise. Family dynamics added layers to the moment. Royalty carries history, alliances, and sometimes quiet tension. Advisors whispered about tradition, yet those closest to the couple knew that history could wait. What mattered was the authenticity of the moment. Could love exist authentically within such structured confines? Here, it did, visibly, palpably, in every gentle gesture and exchanged glance. The proposal itself was understated, almost invisible to the untrained eye. A quiet word, a small bow, a shared understanding, and suddenly the weight of responsibility shifted. The affirmation, the yes, carried echoes far beyond the palace walls, through Madrid, Copenhagen, and across Europe. News would spread, speculations would ignite, but the authenticity of the moment remained untouched, visible only to those who witnessed it. And yet, questions arose immediately. How would this choice shape alliances? Could love exist without compromising duty? Observers debated the implications for months to come, but within the palace, the answer was simple: two young heirs had chosen one another. It was a human story wrapped in centuries of tradition, a reminder that royalty is not just protocol and public image, it is also hearts, courage, and personal truth. Days that followed revealed the ripple effects. Conversations between families, public appearances, private planning, all underscored the delicate balance of duty and desire. Every smile captured in photographs, every nod during formal events, carried meaning. Analysts debated the political and social implications, yet beneath all analysis lay the undeniable fact: a personal, human choice had asserted itself against the backdrop of history. The couple began to navigate this new chapter with grace. Invitations were extended, ceremonies were considered, and the public watched with a mixture of fascination and admiration. And through it all, Princess Leonor maintained her poise, her composure, her dignity. She was a royal, yes, but also a young woman who had exercised the profound freedom of choice. And in that choice, she became relatable, admired, and unforgettable. Every glance in the weeks following carried the memory of that garden in Copenhagen. A shared smile, a subtle gesture, a quiet laugh, all reminders that love had entered royal life without compromise, with courage and authenticity. And as the world speculated, she demonstrated that one could honor tradition while embracing personal happiness. The delicate dance of royalty had shifted, subtly but irrevocably. This was more than a proposal, it was a narrative moment. Royalty, love, family dynamics, historical weight, all intersected in an authentic human story. Observers saw an image, the public heard a declaration, and the world began to understand that behind crowns and ceremonies, hearts move in ways that shape history. As weeks turned to months, the couple's journey unfolded before a captivated audience. Appearances, engagements, and interviews revealed their personalities, their compatibility, and the depth of their bond. The significance of their union was discussed at court, in media, and in the hearts of fans. Yet the core truth remained simple: two young people had chosen each other, gracefully and courageously, in the shadow of history. And so the story of the royal proposal in Copenhagen is remembered not just for the engagement itself, but for what it represented: the blending of tradition with authenticity, duty with desire, history with humanity. It is a tale of young heirs asserting their voice, of love finding its place in centuries of protocol, and of the quiet, transformative power of choice. In the end, the palace walls and city streets may continue their daily rhythms, but within those walls, a moment occurred that would echo through history. A moment that reminded the world, even in royalty, love is a force that bends tradition, shapes legacy, and humanizes history. The proposal in Copenhagen was not merely an announcement, it was a story of courage, authenticity, and the timeless power of love.